I found it fascinating going in there without the headphones on and just experiencing the sound, people sort of shuffling around in the dark.
The initial sort of entry into the room is really powerful.
I felt it was quite fun, but as I got more and more disorientated, I started to feel really quite unnerved and a little bit claustrophobic.
Well, I think my spatial awareness was completely gone. I think at some point I even said to myself that, you know, I'd just be kidding myself if I actually tried to figure out where I was in relation to where I came in.
You know, the lotus, once that was kind of started to move, that was a kind of reassuring little thing, really, like a little kind of comforting thing that was kind of connected to something which was moving, so then I kind of felt reassured by that.
The haptic device did not work for me. It just sort of waved its petals in and out all the time.
The lotus, where I felt didn't really help me to find anything, but I wrote in my little questionnaire thing as well that I quite liked the fact that it felt like it was communicating.
I loved the concept of the lotus flower, which, you know, I loved it particularly as a metaphor.
It's a great device. It is, you know, seed of all. I know you guys, I think, invented it for this particular project.
I don't think I knew exactly what is defined by a zone. I mean, obviously I encountered lots of different things, so whether that was sort of me, you know, feeling a bit of a wall, or whether I came across a sound thing, or whether I then felt, you know, there was quite a lot of different things like that happen. I don't know from that what was a zone and what wasn't a zone.
Right.
So those were kind of just bits of my experience that I kind of, you know, came across.
There was an inflatable dolphin, there was a smaller cube hanging up, there was a big bouncy rubber ball on the floor, there was a strange rubber creature hanging up with like some rubber fur, and maybe two eyes on it.
They were kind of simple, they were shapes, and there were some shapes that related to some of the narrative, and that was kind of cool. Then I was thinking, where's water or sand or texture or message? Where's the sort of dangerous stuff that's as dangerous as the ideas that are being talked about, or as radical as the ideas that are being, very sophisticated ideas going around in the headset.
I found myself rushing around in the beginning, so I didn't want to miss anything. I had no idea how big the space was. I had no idea if I should stay in a zone or an audio zone until I finished the entire thing. And because there was an ambiguity about the rules, which I liked, and I wouldn't change that at all, it took me a while to adapt to the space.
I used the sound for navigation more than the lotus. The sound of the actor's voice in the first scene was what drew me through into the first zone.
To use your own voice in the space was sort of, should I be using it? Should I be saying hello? Oh, sorry when you bump into somebody, or you've touched somebody in the wrong place, or you know, that was sort of at the back of my mind, was sort of etiquette of even behaving in the pitch black. How do you behave when you bump into someone? You know.
To be honest, I found that there was one person in there live, wasn't there, working with us?
Yeah, one live actor.
They were very annoying. Actually, I just wanted him to go away and leave us alone. Yeah. And
why is that? Was he disrupting the audio, or were you worried about like bumping into him?
No, I'm not worried about bumping, but he kept telling us to keep moving, and I was moving, and I'm like, no, don't tell me to keep moving, I'm moving fine, thank you. I didn't like knowing there was someone in the space who maybe knew their way round better than we all did.
I was saying, I felt like when I bumped into a woman or a perfume-smelling person, I kind of feel like they would touch me a lot. So they would touch my arm and like stroke all the way up to figure out, oh, is this the right arm or the left arm? So I had like moments where they were touching my body. It was kind of, oh, right. Whereas I felt like if it was a guy, or at least if I personally bumped into a person, I was very passive. I was like, oh my goodness. And I would step back. And
by far the strongest element for me of the installation was all the tactile stuff to feel, because they were interesting to touch and to explore, I feel. There seemed to be a mathematical link, because so one of them was sort of geometric shapes.
It was a bit of an overload. Yeah, it was a bit too much for me to have, the audio and my sight taken away.
I think it became unclear to me as the experience went on, whether I was in something that had some kind of game structure to it, or whether it was purely experiential. I thought it was very, very, very rich, very multi-layered. You know, I did love the lotus. I thought that was very powerful.